In this video, we're going to learn how to use the RGB LED on the JackBord top. To visit the JackBord top's homepage on the JackBord website, go to www.jackbord.org and at the search prompt, type in the TMT code shown on the screen. Press Enter and you'll be taken directly to the top's homepage. But first of all, a little bit of theory. As you would know, white light is actually made up of many different colours. In robotics and computers, we tend to use three colours to represent all others. These are red, green, and blue. By combining these three colours, you can make just about every other colour that you can see. So for example, looking at this picture, if we combine red and green, we get yellow. And if we combine all three colours, we end up with white. The RGB LED on the JackBord top is located on the lower right-hand side by the second button near port E. It has four connections, marked R, GND, G, and B. The R pin, which is the first one, is the red pin. This is followed by the ground pin, which is the GND pin. Next we have the G pin, which is the green pin. And finally we have the B pin, and this is the blue pin. What these pins mean is that when you connect power to the red pin, the light will turn red. Likewise, when you connect power to the G pin or green pin, it will turn green. And finally, when you connect power to the B or blue pin, the light will turn blue. We're going to use the RGB LED on port C of the JackBord. To connect it, the first thing we do is connect a jumper wire to the ground pin of the LED to the ground of the JackBord top. Next, take a red jumper wire and connect it to port pin C1 of the JackBord. And we're using red because we're going to connect it to the red LED of the RGB. Next, we're going to take a green wire and connect it to port pin C2 of the JackBord, and then connect it to the green pin of the LED. And finally, we're going to connect a blue jumper wire from port pin C3 on the JackBord, and that's going to go to the blue pin of the RGB LED. So these are the connections that you should have. The first one is the ground wire for the LED, which goes from the GND pin to one of the green ground pins on the top. Next, from port pin C1, we have a red jumper that goes to the R pin or red pin of the RGB LED. The next pin is a green wire which goes from port pin C2 on the JackBord to the G pin on the LED. And finally, a blue wire goes from port pin C3 on the JackBord to the blue pin on the RGB LED. Your connections should look like this. Check your connections against this picture and make sure that they match. To use the RGB LED, we need to go to the command line. Remember that we connected it to port C, so that C1 is the red light, port C2 is the green light, and port C3 is the blue light. So if at the command line we press C1 space 1 and press Enter, the LED will go red. If we turn C1 off again, and then we turn on C2 by typing C2 space 1 and press Enter, it will go green. And likewise, if we turn C2 off, and then turn on C3, it should go blue. So we're using the port pins on the JackBord to control the colours produced by the LED. If I type C3 space 0, it will turn off. In theory, to make white, we should be able to use C1 space 1, which turns on the red, and then C2 space 2, which turns on the green, and then C3 space 1, which turns on the blue. So in theory, we should be seeing a white light, and so we do. We can turn the LED off by typing COFF at the command line, because this turns off all of the pins on port C. So how does the RGB LED work? Well, as the name implies, there are actually 3 LEDs inside this one LED: a red, a green, and a blue. If we turn down the gain on the camera so that it's very, very low, and this will make the picture very dark, I'm now going to turn on the red LED. And there it is. And now the green and the blue. And as you can see, there are actually 3 separate LEDs inside the RGB LED. The reason they don't appear white is that we're so close to the LED that they're too far apart for us to see them as one colour. Just the same as if you look at your television screen at home up very close with a magnifying glass, you'll see that it's actually made up of thousands and thousands of little dots, which when you're that close don't look anything like the picture that you're used to seeing. To summarise, we use the RGB LED on the JackBord top. By connecting it to port C, we were able to control the red, green and blue LEDs inside it to make different colours. Try something yourself. See how many colours you can make. So for example, in theory, if you turn on the red and the green LEDs, you should be able to make yellow. We also learned that you can make pretty much any colour that the human eye can see by simply using 3 colours, red, green and blue, and combining them in different ways. In the meantime, if you want any other information or are just curious, you can visit us on www.jackbord.org.